games that we're looking at so far this year, kind of similar there. And AJ also said, you got to remember, it takes 40-something at-bats to find yourself with bad numbers. It's going to take another 40 at-bats to get out of that, guys. So it can't be fixed in one game. This is going to be a process. Guys, we hope this process starts tonight, don't we?
Absolutely, Julia. Thanks. And it's amazing when you consider, Blummer, that last year Chris Carter, after the really slow start, and a lot of people talking about, I don't know if Carter's ever going to get it going, wound up hitting 37 bombs on the year, second best in the American League. And that's a big turnaround. Is that waiting in the future for Carter this year?
Sure hope so. It's just amazing that you can come off a season where you hit 37 bombs and start out the same way, just as slow. Maybe he's just a slow starter. Maybe it takes him a couple months to get loose, whatever. But he's in a sweet home of Safeco for him, and hopefully this is where he starts to light it up.
Well, and I guess another guy in that same situation is George Springer, who got hot here last year, went on to Kansas City, and really lit it up. And so we know what these guys can do, and hopefully it happens once again. Tonight's Astros starting lineup is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. And that lineup for the Astros in Game 2 after they picked up the win last night. Jose Altuve in the top spot. He was shut out last night. Luis Valbuena was not. He's the two-hitter, followed by George Springer. Evan Gattis, Marwin Gonzalez at shortstop tonight, and Jason Castro, the middle three. And the bottom of the order, Chris Carter, Colby Rasmus, and Jake Marisnick.
On the mound for the Seattle Mariners, Taijuan Walker, 22-year-old right-hander, making his 14th career appearance, his 11th major league start. Just a kid learning his way, throws quite firm, relies on that fastball, also has a changeup, curveball, occasional cutter. Been getting beat up a little bit this year, 17.18 ERA.
And he has great stuff when on his game, so the Astros have a tough competitor on the hill tonight. It's cold, even in this domed, well, I don't know if you call it a dome, but certainly a roof over the top stadium. We just saw about 2 minutes ago rain blowing into the stadium, and some of the fans taking some abuse early on as Altuve takes the first pitch high.
That's their fault. They made a bad choice. There's plenty of options here in Seattle right now.
Bad choice in seating, I guess you could say. Jose had a 9-game hitting streak snapped last night. Still hitting .296 on the year. 16 hits already, a home run, and 4 RBIs for Jose. Taijuan Walker with that good fastball, 96 miles an hour. So you see right away what kind of stuff this young right-hander has.
I think he's been getting in trouble and getting away from that nice fastball. He gets ahead early with that. Been hanging some of his off-speed pitches.
Pitch is hit in the air center field. Right there is Austin Jackson as he backs a couple of steps. And out number 1 on the evening.
Take a look around Safeco Field. Out there in center field, Austin Jackson. Beside him, you're going to see Dustin Ackley in left. Seth Smith out there in right field for Nelson Cruz. Around the infield, Seager, Miller, Cano, and Logan Morrison at first base. And working with Taijuan is going to be Mike Zunino.
The umpires for tonight's game, C.B. Buckner behind the plate. At first base, Lance Barrett. Dan Iasonia at second. And the crew chief, Dale Scott, is at third. One out for Valbuena, who was absolutely amazing last night. A couple of home runs. He was 3 for 4 on the evening. 5 dingers on the young season now for Valbuena. Taijuan Walker really kind of tightening up that delivery. You can see the velocity, though. And when he gets it going, can be about as tough as anybody. High fastball. Going to be a tough night trying to catch up to that pitch.
You just see the natural velocity from Taijuan Walker. That ball jumping out of his hand, basically standing there in the set position a little bit.
Yep.
I'm sure they've done quite a lot of work to quiet down and simplify that delivery for the young man. I think that's his changeup at 90 miles an hour, by the way.
Diving as it gets to the plate. So a lot of guys have their fastball hopefully at 90, and there's the change or splitter. Just reaching out and spoiling his Valbuena. Count stays at 2-2. As the night begins, the Astros are in first place in the American League West. 7-6 the record. The Oakland A's are 7-7, followed by Seattle at 5-8. The Angels also 5-8, as are the Texas Rangers. And now 3-2, and that's legit chin music at 97.
Hit a couple bombs the night before. You Got to set the tone early and let them know that you're not afraid to come into that kitchen with 97.
Goes to the changeup on the 3-2 and walks Valbuena. So the 1-out walk brings up George Springer in that 3 spot. There's your standings. And again, the Astros on top. And we mention it again because it's been a while. 2007, the Astros last season in which they were 7-6 to begin a year. Tight division. Long way to play this thing out. Springer hitting .270, lines one to center, dropping and drops in front of Jackson. So Springer has a knock. Stopping at second, Valbuena. So the Astros have something going here in the first inning. Runners at first and second for the cleanup man, Evan Gattis.
That was a nice direct route to the baseball by George Springer. I think anticipating the high fastball. You see the hands stayed elevated. Did a good job of getting on top of that ball and driving through it. Almost hit it too hard.
You know, it's interesting you say that, Blummer, that Springer had the direct route on a guy who's 96, 97 with the high fastball. And yet so much of the time, even on the guys who don't throw overly hard, Springer finds that bat looping under the baseball.
Getting down around the cage and talking to some of the coaching staff about George Springer, we've talked about how he's having a tough time with the pitches down the middle. Well, oddly enough, but sometimes maybe the recognition, he recognizes that ball so early being in a good spot to hit that young guys have a tendency to overswing a little bit, and that might be causing the problem. But when you face a guy that's throwing 97 miles an hour, you don't have much time to think. You get it ready and you're quick to it.
Yeah, it better happen by reaction, and that's one of the good reasons why hitting coaches, when a guy is struggling, would like to see that hitter take batting practice, hit line drives the opposite way, see the ball longer, get that direct path to the baseball. Evan Gattis has been working that part of the game consistently over the past week. Batting average at 130 for Evan as he pops one back foul below us. We sit just slightly on the first base side of home plate. Second tank here in Seattle, Safeco Field. It's a beautiful ballpark. And we mentioned last night that LED lighting, first ballpark in the major leagues now with that. It does look good on the field. And strike 3 is called. Gattis caught looking. 2 outs in the first inning. First strikeout on the night for Taijuan Walker.
That's just nasty. 2 strikes and get mid-90s fastball painted down and away. That was a changeup. I apologize. Watch Gattis' reaction.
Well, and the pitches in that at bat all around the perimeters of the strike zone. You can see up there at the front knee, that ball in the strike zone. So 2 down, it's up to Jason Castro. Again, the Astros winners last night. They've won 3 straight coming in. Seattle had won 2 straight prior to last night's loss. There's that changeup as it's left up on Castro. Jason hitting .235. Does have a home run and a couple of RBIs. On base percentage at .350, so he's getting on base. Tough to lay off the high cheese. Castro a .220 mark lifetime against Seattle. He's got 123 at bats against the Mariners on his career. Just 1 home run and 10 ribbies. Last night, Castro 0 for 4 in the ball game. And again, the fastball thrown by. Steady 96, 97 from Walker. And he won't see much better. We've seen Garrett Richards of the Angels in this range. A lot of people talk when you consider the Seattle Mariners of Felix Hernandez. Great pitcher, but no longer anywhere near this kind of velocity.
Young King Felix had this kind of velocity consistently.
And he was feared by every hitter in the game.
I'd rather have him with a bat in his hand than a baseball.
I don't think there's a lot of consideration right now for Hernandez pitching, or rather swinging the bat in this game. Now timeout. Zunino goes out to the mound.
Yeah, but it's pretty impressive. King Felix, young, could overpower guys, could overwhelm them with the fastball that he had, the good breaking ball that he had. But I think it's great to watch how this kid's evolved into an excellent pitcher. He knows the game, he studies the game, developed 4 great pitches. Sure, a lot of people thought when he lost the velocity he might become a different pitcher, but he's actually become quite good.
Up the ladder, the fastball gets Castro on strikes. 2 punch-outs in the inning for Walker as the Astros fail to score. We've got some beautiful spots and some Astros fans for that matter. George Springer represented here for Seattle on the night. That lineup consists of Dustin Ackley in the top spot, followed by Austin Jackson and Robinson Cano. He swung it well last night. Nelson Cruz has been red hot, a 9-game hitting streak. Kyle Seager and Seth Smith in the bottom 3. Logan Morrison, Brad Miller, and Mike Zunino.
Colin McHugh for your Houston Astros. Back in a place he likes to pitch well. We talked about his debut for the Astros last year where he struck out 12, coming off an 11 strikeout game last time out there, looking to continue his perfect season. Putting up some great numbers. That since the 2014 All-Star break, those are impressive numbers right there. 9-1.
And that first pitch away. Hard to imagine, but already now 5 career starts for Colin against Seattle. He's 3-2. He's allowed, though, just 22 hits in 30 2/3 innings. And a 2-0 count as that one misses just away. Mariners have gotten to McHugh a bit. 5 home runs allowed. That batting average just at 196. Colin falls behind with that cutter slider inside. Ackley off to a 229 start on the year. Has 3 dingers and just 3 RBIs. And on 4 pitches to start things, Ackley draws the walk.
It's an interesting start for McHugh. Take a look at the Astros defense here at Safeco Field. In the outfield, Colby Rasmussen left, Jake Marisnick in center, George Springer in right. Around the infield, Luis Valbuena at third, Marwin Gonzalez picking up for Jed Lowry at short, Altuve and Carter on the right side, and Jason Castro doing the catching.
Now, we did a lot of talking about Colin McHugh in the pregame and what he did last year. I'll throw some numbers at you to show it's not smoke.
Let me get my glove.
Okay. You got it on?
Yep.
Leather broken in?
Ready.
154 2/3 innings, just 117 hits allowed last year. That equates to a 208 batting average against. So around the major leagues for your first real full season, those are spectacular numbers. Jackson swings through it, 0-2 the count. And then you consider that 2 starts. Colin already is 2-0 on the year, 0.61 the ERA. So he's right back at it again. Tries to bait the hook with that slider away. He has beaten the Texas Rangers. That on April 10th. 5-1 was the final there. 6 innings, 1-run baseball. April 15th, down the Oakland A's 6-1, allowing 1 run in 5 2/3. And a nice job by Castro, but digging for second, Ackley, and he just gets in. It's a wild pitch. And Dustin Ackley with a nice job reading this ball in the dirt.
Yeah, I thought he got a great read, but how about Castro jumping out of there, actually making this semi-close at second base? I was shocked.
Take a good look at what Jason Castro is doing with that blocking position. Boy, that's close.
It was close.
Can't tell if the foot was actually on the bag or just a little shy. Well, you're right. That was a beautiful bit of work behind the plate by Jason Castro.
It was funny talking to him about Will Harris last night. We saw that curveball that Will threw about 52 feet out in front of him.
Fly ball down the right field side. Long run for Springer in the corner. He'll get there to make the catch. It was a fair ball. And tagging alertly at second was Ackley as he moves into third base. Well, that would have been intriguing if that ball had dropped and Ackley had not been able to score on that ball.
It's not an easy play for any right fielder. I don't care if you're playing here every day or not, but this ball's slicing away off the right-hander's bat. Getting into that danger zone.
That's a ball that I was kind of questioning last night when a right-handed fielder moves to his left and has the ball out to the glove side. I always felt like that was the toughest side for me as a catcher, and in talking with other catchers, never heard anybody who disagreed. But you know, for a fielder, maybe that same feel. Very nice play in the end by Springer. Brings up Robinson Cano, who fouls it back. It's 0-1 on Robinson.
I think it's a little bit different for fielders because when the ball's in the air and you're catching the ball in your glove side, there's nothing impeding your eyesight. When you reach across your body, that's when the glove comes across your eyes a little bit and maybe lose the ball a little bit. But with the ball tailing away in a visiting ballpark and you're going towards the stands, it's never easy.
McHugh off speed in the dirt, and again Castro, well, he's dropping to his knees really well. He's staying down as much as possible. As that glove stays down, the chest protector takes on the brunt of the work, and you can't do it much better.
Yeah, I was talking to him about Will Harris. Says he spikes that curveball every time. He anticipates the ball being that far out in front of home plate.
You know, that one that bounces in front of home plate, as a catcher, you kind of make things up. You come up because you know you're going to get a higher bounce. Fister to third. Valbuena will make the play to first base. That'll bring the run in as Seattle jumps on top 1-0. Cano an RBI on the ground out. That's 2 outs in the inning. 1-0 Seattle.
Not pretty, but gets the job done.
Well, you are known for being a heck of a third baseman. Your reaction to watching this play?
My initial thought was that it might have a chance to get the runner at home plate, but realizing that that ball wasn't hit that hard, I understand why Valbuena went over to first base to make sure and get that out. 6th inning, 7th inning, 1-run game. Might give it a shot at home plate, but here early in the game, because he is playing relatively shallow.
Yeah, that's where I thought the aggressiveness might be there to come to the plate, but I understand your drift.
Yeah, I mean, early in the game, he might get the out first, but you even saw Jason Castro in front of home plate pointing to first base saying, get the sure out.
Well, Robinson Cano, just his 5th RBI of the young season. Yeah, this is one of those intriguing innings, and I imagine that for Colin McHugh, it could be one of those innings that can drive you crazy if it makes a difference in the end on the ball game. A leadoff walk on 4 pitches, then a wild pitch moving the runner to second, fly ball to right field moves the runner to third, and then a little Fister jam shot as you get Robinson Cano to put it on the ground, and Seattle has a run on the board. 0-2 to Cruz. Again, we mentioned 9-game hitting streak, and it's legit. That's your major league leader right there in home runs. ...16 RBIs on the year. He is putting up some great stuff.
Well, when McHugh's missing early on here in this game, he is missing by a lot.
Well, last year, I would contend that a lot of the time we would see McHugh as sharp as could be, and then like that,
true,
he would suddenly start yanking pitches or miss wide to his arm side, and it's just kind of bizarre, and then he'll put it back together. Nelson Cruz, 40 home runs a year ago. He signs the big deal with Seattle. I imagine a lot of folks here in Seattle were excited, but at the same time wondering, could Nelson Cruz at this stage of his career put up that sort of numbers once again? Well, he's after it and then some. The 108 RBIs a year ago for Cruz, the most in his career. In fact, first time ever that he's gotten to 100 RBIs in a year. Lays off that good curveball.
That's interesting. The 100 RBI.
Yeah.
Stat. I thought for sure in Texas he'd had to have gone over it a couple times with the lineups he was hitting in over there.
Played with the Texas Rangers from 2006 through 2013. Went to Baltimore. And that year in Baltimore, the only year with 100+ RBIs. Fastball in the hands. Easy fly ball right center field. Springer comes on and makes the play. And that'll do it. But Seattle picks up a manufactured run, leads it 1-0.
Park, save money, and receive great benefits throughout the season. Visit Astros.com/season tickets or call 1-877-9-ASTROS now to reserve your seats. If you liked lead changes, you probably liked last night's game. Astros came out to win it, but it was a seesaw battle, as the Astros put it in their game notes, which I liked. But A.J. Hinch talked about that win today. He was pleased with the way that his team kept their composure throughout that game. Mariners had a lot of opportunities last night to kind of break that game open, but he liked what Asher Wojciechowski was doing on the mound as far as limiting the damage, and then just the entire team defensively and then offensively coming through to get the W in the end. He was impressed with, guys.
Thanks, Julia. It is always interesting, the makeup of ball games, and this one starts intriguing as well, with the Mariners picking up a run in the first inning without a hit. A little simple walk to start things. Wild pitch, fly ball moves him up, ground ball drives in the run, and there's the nature of a ball club that becomes known as gritty or determined or whatever the adjective might be. Marwin Gonzalez has played well when given chances and gets another chance tonight. He plays at shortstop, hitting .333 on the young season. Now, the Astros are intriguing to this point with a 7-6 record. Their run differential is, to me, one of the most intriguing things to this point on the year. The Astros are a -4 in run differential and yet a game over 500.
So the runs they're giving up are in one game. And
Yep.
they get blown out.
So you win close ones, and then you get blown out in some other games, and wind up getting outscored. They've scored 41 runs and given up 45, and yet they're 7-6.
Just throw a major wrench into your mathematical analysis there.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. Go figure. I guess is the bottom line. But the thing about it is, play 162 games and find yourself on the negative side in terms of run differential, and you're going to be a hard pressed team to be over 500.
Yeah.
2-2 pitch. Marwin with a good swing. But that high fastball appears to be a pitch that is going to be tough to lay off.
It's kind of throwing it on the borderline of that upper part of the strike zone also.
How about the Astros since 2010 and the starts they've had? And it makes you think about what A.J. Hinch is dealing with right now with a team that's over 500. Another punch out. That's 3 straight now recorded by Taijuan Walker. First out here in the second.
That's a dirty changeup right there. Talked about him pitching up in the zone with 95, 96, Ash, and then you come back with a 90-mile-an-hour changeup that dives out of the zone. Could make for a tough night if he has control of that.
That is filthy. And as a hitter, you kind of glance around in your head. You're looking for answers. What do I do next time to handle that pitch? High fastball, a strike to Chris Carter. Carter batting in that 7 spot tonight and hitting .071. Half swing. Did he go? Down at first base, thumb up. Lance Barrett, so it's 0-2 now on Carter. Carter came on as a pinch hitter last night and got 2 at bats and struck out in each. And the high fastball gets him. 4 straight strikeouts for Taijuan Walker. 2 down here in the second inning.
Well, analysis would tell you that he just brought the noise on that at bat. He just overpowered Chris Carter.
Yeah, he did.
98 at the top of the zone. Ooh.
It's going to be really tough to get to, and yet the one Houston hit so far by George Springer on a high fastball. Colby Rasmus at the plate. He hit one of the 3 Houston home runs last night. Valbuena, of course, with the other 2. But Colby Rasmus, 2 dingers on his season, hitting an even 200. So, who's the best scoring team in terms of differential so far in the American League? And I think coming out of spring training, this would have surprised most, if not all, the experts. Kansas City Royals.
Yeah.
Plus 34.
Well, you know, they've got the pitching, but I don't think anybody anticipated the offense putting up that kind of difference.
Their pitching has allowed the same number of runs as the Detroit Tigers right now. 41 runs against. Tigers are just right behind in terms of differential. Royals have scored 3 more runs, but those are the 2 teams running away right now in the Central.
2 good ball clubs.
Yep.
That Yost has got those guys playing real well.
At some point late last season, they began to believe. Taijuan Walker brings another strike. That'll fill it 3-2. The Astros have had 2 base runners, a 1-out walk to Valbuena in the first inning, and then George Springer with a base hit. Strike 3 called. Rasmus thought he had taken ball 4, but 5 consecutive strikeouts by Taijuan Walker, dominant early. Sports is presented by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare right now at southwest.com. It's a 1-0 Seattle lead. We played just an inning and a half. Colin McHugh set to work here in the second to Kyle Seager, the 5-hitter for Seattle. He'll be followed by Seth Smith and Logan Morrison. Mariners with a run in the first inning without a hit. Kyle Seager locked up this winter to a long-term deal and a lot of cash. Takes a strike at the knees. 2 homers already for Seager, hitting .306 on the year. Left-hand hitter all the way. Little tapper third base side. McHugh bare hands and fires to get him. Nice play by Colin McHugh. Seager doesn't run extremely well, and so the Astros get out number 1 here in the second.
Pretty good play by McHugh, bouncing off there. Ball clearly beats Kyle Seager.
What's going through your head as a hitter? You hit that little nubber out in front of the plate and you start digging down the line.
Well, I'm trying to ignore the fact that my hamstrings are locking up about 3/4 of the way down there. And then I'm going, I got this. And then you hear the pop. Yeah. And then it's just full deflation after that.
I'm guessing it didn't feel in your head quite like it did in mine, where my thought was, there's no way on earth I'm going to beat this, but I'm going to run like crazy down the line.
You can't give up that early. You got to say, I got a smidge of a chance.
I was always dealing in reality.
There was always an opportunity the guy spikes himself. Or
it was going to take more than a spike job.
Where he airmails it, you get the air, and you got to keep running to second base.
I just used to hate that feeling. The other one I hated was, you hate striking out, but it happens. It's part of the game. But when you hit that pop-up to the catcher, no, it's in foul territory. You can't even run down the line and act like you're trying to make something happen.
Did you ever yell at the catcher?
No, I never played that game.
You go all A-Rod on him and start screaming at him? No, my worst was you turn on one, square it up nicely, and just hit a one-hop taser to the first baseman, and he puts the hand up to the pitcher.
Yeah,
I got it.
I got
plenty of time. That's the one that drove me nuts.
Really? That was worse than the pop-up to the catcher, huh?
Yeah. Because I had to run.
Well, you have to run. Yeah, you have to run down the line on that one and make it look like you're giving your best. 2-2 the count. Seth Smith, the right fielder. I wonder if his parents realized for some people that was going to be a name that was a little tough to rattle off quickly. Seth Smith. Here I am complaining at parents now.
I was going to let you go with that on your later.
I mean, it was kind of an obvious with Asher Wojciechowski or something like that, but
yeah. Or Charlie Furbush.
Yeah. See, there's names that flow and others that don't. 3-2 hit on the ground right side past the diving Altuve. Hit number 1 on the night for the Mariners. It comes with 1 out and brings up Logan Morrison. So now that he's at first base, we'll just refer to him as Smith.
Hit the ball hard enough, you can hit it through the shift. You see Altuve didn't get the best jump on that, but that was a little bit of a hanging cutter slider that Smith turned on.
With 1 out, Morrison stands in, hitting .200. Is yet to homer on the year, yet to drive in a run. A guy Seattle is counting on to drive in some runs this year. Hit in the air center field. Easy in center field, as making the play for the Astros is Jake Marisnick. 2 down here in the second inning.
This Astros outfield is going to ruin the hopes of a lot of hitters around the league.
Well, they can go get it.
And make it look easy, too.
Yeah, we've said it, and it's been said numerous times already this season, but 3 center fielders for the club.
It's great in some of these ballparks, like Safeco and going down to Petco to see how much ground they can actually cover.
Brad Miller at the plate hitting .244. He takes a strike. Miller has some pop, 1 homer on the year.
Okay. It's a good little cutter on the inside corner. I thought he got it.
You want to take odds? Where is that? So you're that umpire. We talked about it last night. Nose on the inside corner. Ball comes right at your nose. And no, I didn't like that one.
I wonder if that little movement on that cutter throws the umpire off every once in a while.
Yeah, I wonder.
I mean, I'm just making excuses now, but that's a strike.
We saw Dale Scott, the crew chief, last night behind the plate, and there were numerous pitches in the strike zone that were not called strikes.
Yeah, I talked to Castro like I told you, and he was not happy about that. We had a conversation about how many pitches were actually missed. They didn't necessarily hit the spot that the pitcher was aiming for where Castro was set up. It still crossed in the strike zone and we're over the plate.
Did you happen to ask him what he was saying last night to the home plate umpire, Dale Scott? Because he turned a number of times.
He handled it appropriately early on, but we saw later in the game he was actually turning around asking him where those pitches were.
There's a strike.
But he didn't really get a definitive answer. Dale just kept saying, no, that's not a strike.
Well, I hope what the umpires do or are forced to do is take a look at pitches that they missed over the course of a game.
There's got to be reports going to these guys, right?
Look, hitters have to deal with all of that, right? Runner goes on the 3-2 and down on strikes is Miller. That'll do it. McHugh gets through the second inning, yields his first hit against on the night. It's 1-0 Seattle after 2.
Bagwell to right. Sosa back. All the way back. And Jeff Bagwell is the all-time home run leader for the Houston Astros with his second of the day. And that's 224 for his career, passing Jimmy Wynn.
Jeff Bagwell, obviously one of the greats all time for the Houston Astros and in Major League Baseball. And how about Bill Brown on the call there?
Of course he is.
How many home runs did he call for Jeff Bagwell? Probably every one.
Good chance he called everyone. Yeah, that's for sure. You know, he called every one of Lance Berkman's.
Yeah, 449 for Jeff Bagwell. That's a pretty good list right there. We go to the third inning, 1-0 Seattle. And by the way, not a bad time to mention today's date, April 21st, 1963, the birthday of one Ken Caminiti. He would have been 52 years of age today.
Good call right there.
A wonderful guy, Ken Caminiti. Everybody that I ever know that played with Cam loved him, and so we wish him a happy birthday, and we're thinking about you. 2-0 pitch. Marisnick takes a strike. Jake Marisnick off to a very nice start. .324 the batting average. Does have a home run, and it was a big job to left field. 5 RBIs for Jake. Taijuan Walker, great stuff here this evening, and does not get an inside corner bid at 96. Take a peek at this one. And yeah, good call. Home plate umpire again tonight, C.B. Buckner. 90 miles an hour. I'm not sure what that was. It looked almost like a little cut job.
He does have that cutter. I didn't realize he took that much off of it. But yeah, some of these 3-1, 3-2 counts, he goes to the off speed instead of trying to pump the 95+ miles an hour past guys. There's that changeup.
Changeup is a good one. Previous pitch, that 90-mile-an-hour job, trying to work to the outside.
Yeah, it got on the side of it. You're right.
You see that rotation. If you were able to see it at all, it's much like a football where you see that spiral coming out. High heater, and Marisnick lays off, draws the walk. Second walk issued tonight by Taijuan Walker. Leadoff man aboard for Jose Altuve, looking for his first hit here in the series. I wonder
if they'll put anything on with Marisnick, who can run it first, and a guy like Altuve who handles the bat pretty well. Early on here, Taijuan Walker around the strike zone, though he's issued 2 walks.
You know, you bring up the perfect scenario. You got the guy that can handle the bat and the guy that can run at first base. How did you feel as a hitter with a hit and run given to you with nobody out?
I didn't mind it so much. I found that more often than not the manager was giving it to me when I was in a tough spot, maybe trying to create some holes to try and shoot the ball through. But when you're facing a tough pitcher, you almost welcomed it because it kind of forced you into that swing mode, so you get ready to swing instead of being passive.
And now the count at 0-2 on Altuve. 0 for 4 last night. He came in having hit in 9 straight. In fact, that final game of the homestand against the Angels, the 4-3 Houston victory, Altuve was 3 for 5. Had pushed that batting average to .320. He's now at .291. Hits one high in the air left field. Right there, Dustin Ackley, and now comes in a couple of steps. Out number 1 here in the 3rd. A little bit of funk here as the road trip begins for Altuve. Luis Valbuena drew a walk in the first inning. He stands in. And he had no problems whatsoever last night seeing the baseball.
Showing some thump early on this season for the Astros.
5 dingers, bluff at first base from Marisnick. That's pretty good. If you can have in mind that you're going to go as a young player and then realize didn't have enough jump, turn around and get back. Yeah, that was a full-on go right there for Jake.
Well, I wonder if he recognized fastball and shut it down. If he was anticipating an off-speed pitch to steal second on.
Were you one of those guys that would watch real closely at pitchers to see if they were doing anything to tip off pitches?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. No, there was a group of guys, especially those guys that weren't playing every day, sit down at the end of the bench and really try and key on certain parts of the pitcher's anatomy, or his glove, or some kind of twitch that he had that would give away what pitch he was going to at that time.
I was just watching Walker on that setup to what turned into a toss over to first base. Looked like he jammed the right hand deep into the glove, like maybe the changeup was coming. And there's always that guy or group of guys on a team that will watch really closely and pick up something. Fastball hit sharply through the hole. Base hit Valbuena, second hit of the night for the Stros. Digging to third, Marisnick. And the Astros have something going with 1 out. Runners at the corners for George Springer.
Valbuena is getting that stick going here in Safeco. He is not missing pitches in the zone. He gets a strike to hit, he's going to lay the barrel out there and get it.
Already his 3rd hit of the series.
He's even got the bat flip to go with it. And what a great thing to have Jake Marisnick out there too, going first to third easy on that base hit to right.
Springer with a good swing, swings through it. That wasn't the good heater.
It looked like a little bit of a cutter slider.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that is simply that cutter that we saw. That spiral pitch. A ball and a strike on George, back to 96. Springer just 3 ribbies on the year, now hitting 188 with the base hit in the 1st inning. It's hard to project on guys what you need over the course of the year. But if George Springer stays healthy, plays in 155 plus games, how many RBIs is a good year for your 3-hitter as it may turn out?
He'd be a 30-90 guy for me, I think. 90 RBIs with Altuve getting on base consistently in front of him. And if Valbuena, who knows how long he can keep this up, but the way he's going right now, he's going to be on base quite a bit too.
Coming out of spring training, it looked like Springer was going to be the guy hitting 2nd. Valbuena was going to be possibly in the 3 spot. But it looks for the moment like it will stay flipped around for a while. 2-2 on George. Gets a piece and fouls it off. And that at 97.
Yeah, you can say that pitch was probably a hittable pitch, but then when you put 97 miles an hour next to it, it makes it a little bit tougher to get around on it. Because that's almost center cut. But that extra couple miles an hour is what sneaks up on you.
We saw Evan Gattis, another guy being counted on, reaching out, putting it in the air, shallow in left field. Tough play at shortstop and a nice play by Miller. Tagging and coming to the plate, Marisnick, and he is out. Called out at home plate by C.B. Buckner. And A.J. Hinch is coming out, and I have a feeling we are going to see this play reviewed. It looked to me like Marisnick may have gotten in there.
I agree, and I applaud the effort of Jake Marisnick, realizing that the shortstop, Brad Miller, was running back towards left field to make that play. And taking a chance on going home right there. If the left fielder comes in and makes that play coming in towards home plate, I guarantee you Jake Marisnick doesn't make the attempt. But knowing that the shortstop is going away from home plate, he took a chance. Let's see if he gets it. He's got it.
Yeah, he should be called safe on this play. C.B. Buckner, you can see lined up right behind the play.
Great play by Miller to make the catch and the throw. I think that other angle was a little more definitive for me.
What'd you see on this one?
Still saw the hand in there, but it looked like the tag was almost simultaneous. But this is the one where I see the hand getting in there quick. Because you can't see that back shoulder where he was after.
I'll tell you what you also can't see on this view. The other view is whether the glove had gotten to the body by the time the hand got to the plate. You know, from that view, I'm not sure that you can definitively say other than what the call was.
Yeah, those are all, I don't know if there's enough there to overturn that.
That's going to be the key on the play. I thought the very first view we saw might be the one where you say he got the hand in first.
Yeah, the hand's in there, and you really don't see the jersey moving, but you're not sure if he hit him up high.
Yeah, where is that glove? Is it on the body?
Because that's when you see the jersey move.
Now, this is the one.
Because it looks like there's space.
Yeah, for me, that's safe.
Yeah, it's tough.
Really tough.
Blocking us out right there.
Yeah, he's
there
safe.
You go.
He's safe. That's the best view right there. That's the one.
Yeah, this is going to take some time to figure out, but I agree with you. I think he got in there.
Yeah, I hope the guys in New York take a good look at that last one we had a peek at, because I think that's the one that turns it around for me. Fans here in the ballpark watching on the big scoreboard, and they're seeing different views, and you just can't tell, but Miller at shortstop, as Blummer says, what a play.
CB was actually in a pretty good spot to make that call, too. Wow,
Is called safe. So I'm going to contend, Blummer, that the folks in New York saw that last view that we saw and utilized that to overturn the play. That'll go as a sac fly for George Springer, as Jake Marisnick, with the speed and instincts, picks up a run. That's big time.
Showing a little fire. I like the intensity these Astros are playing with. They know how important each run is.
So that's 2 outs in the inning. A run in. We're tied at 1. And now Lloyd McClendon is going to come out. And what would be the
I'm not sure.
argument here from Lloyd McClendon, I wonder?
Well, Taijuan Walker is throwing a couple pitches after sitting down for that time. I'm not sure what we're doing. And now you got A.J. Hinch going out to talk to the crew chief Dale Scott at third base.
Yeah, I wonder if Taijuan Walker chose not to throw any pitches because it might have tipped off that the Mariners thought maybe a safe was going to be called at home plate, and so then wanted to be able to throw a couple of pitches. I don't know. I can't come up with anything other. Still at first base is Luis Valbuena, and again 2 down as Walker throws over. The Astros have been among the best running teams this year, but Valbuena, not really one of those guys you would bank on stealing bags.
He's doing everything else. Why not?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, he's
feeling pretty good about himself. He might take off.
He seems to have shown that he can play third base. He's got the power bat. I think Jose Altuve appears to be in his head right there a little bit of trying to figure out how's he going to get those 2, 3, and 4 hit nights going. Gaddis pops one up on the right side. Second baseman Cano will make that frenetic effort at it as he makes the play. That'll do it for the Astros in the third inning. They get on the board as Jake Marisnick able to score on this, what is going to be called a sac fly. Quite an effort by Marisnick.
As our pitching performance powered by Kubota. This was last April, like I said, and he struck out 12 Mariners with 6 2/3 shutout innings as the Astros beat Seattle 5-2 that day. Almost felt magical, guys. I know we were here watching that. Didn't know what to expect from Colin McHugh, but 12 strikeouts that night. 11 in his last outing, guys. But one of the things he did say after that outing is he would give up those strikeouts if he could get deeper into games. I'm sure he wasn't happy with walking that first batter. Probably hoping to be a little more efficient tonight.
Thanks, Julia. And, you know, when I think of Colin McHugh, I don't necessarily immediately equate big strikeout pitcher, but a guy who struck out more than a man an inning last year.
And those high strikeout guys throw a lot of pitches. They're going to be out of the game a little bit sooner.
Oh, and 2 the count. Zunino leads it off. Mike Zunino last night, and as you look up at the scoreboard and the batting average at 132, he looked like a hitter that was in that land of the lost, at least for the moment.
I think it was Thatcher that gave him that hit.
And there's the line drive into left field. So that one's on me.
I'm glad you're accountable for yourself.
By the way, back on the play where Marisnick scores from third base. How about the job by George Springer here?
Just to put it in play, and that's what you got to do. You strike out right there, nothing happens. So it's kind of good to see that a high strikeout guy like Springer just, you know, you got your rear end in the dugout. You're able to keep your hands back and flip one out there. It's not a perfect situation, but it worked out.
So the leadoff single has Zunino aboard. Leadoff man Dustin Ackley at the plate. He drew the walk in the first inning and scored the lone run for Seattle in this 1-1 tie in the third. You know, and reflecting again back on Colin McHugh talking about the more than a strikeout an inning. He struck out 11.6 per 9 innings last year. That's an impressive figure. Fly ball off the fist into right center field. Marisnick is there. Out number 1, getting back to first, Zunino. And you know, the Astros have added some guys. We've been talking about it. Waiver wire guys. Colin McHugh was one of those guys. And when the waiver wire acquisitions happen, you don't generally take notice.
No, those are guys you're picking up just to fill a hole, maybe be a stopgap. But every once in a while, you're going to sneak in and find a guy that can electrify your staff and make a place for himself. And Colin McHugh is one of those guys, much like a Rule 5 draftee that you're just hoping to get big things from.
Runner goes, ground ball to the hole, left side. That's a base hit. Zunino, the catcher, stops at second base. So it's a base hit for Austin Jackson, who's 1 for 2 on the night. A couple of hits in the inning, as Seattle has 2 runners aboard for the 3-hitter Robinson Cano. There's your strikeouts per 9 innings, and again 11.6 last year for McHugh. Even in 2014 limited action, he struck out just over a man an inning. He doesn't look like that guy, but he is a big strikeout pitcher on the hill.
Not only can he do your taxes, he can also strike some big league hitters out.
And that's perfectly stated. I saw some of the scouts from HR Block here this evening, and so
hey, looking for that waiver claim.
Well, you got to make shrewd deals. Good breaking ball in for the called strike. Well, through the years, I mean, quite frankly, you're not going to get Craig Biggio or Jeff Bagwell in a waiver claim. So you don't hear the big names happening, but sometimes those names become big at some point later.
And those waiver claims are just a complete credit to your scouting department, too. Somebody had experience with them in a different organization or caught them at a good time, maybe on a road trip in the minor leagues, and kept up with them and decided to take a flyer on them.
Line drive center field, base hit for Cano. Third hit of the inning coming into the plate is Zunino, and makes it a 2-1 Seattle lead. Stopping at second base, Austin Jackson. So hits by Zunino, Jackson, and Cano have the Mariners on top.
And some of these pitches that McHugh is giving up the hits on are just hanging around the strike zone a little bit too long. And some of the pitches up in the zone, guys are able to get their hands around on. You can see this one up around the belt. With a hitter like Cano and a runner in scoring position, there's a good chance he's going to take advantage of it.
2 RBIs on the night for Cano as he gets this base hit. It was Cano with the ground ball to third, driving in the first run for Seattle. So he now has 6 RBIs on the year. Here's the big man driving in runs, Nelson Cruz. 0 for 1 on the night, fly to right field. We can see McHugh trying to get on the hands of these Seattle hitters, and he does that well. But I think at the same time, on the big nights for Colin, he has the curveball working. Sometimes it's the slider.
We talked about how he can pitch up in the zone with his 92, 93, and that's what you're releasing a fastball in that same area, and you can also throw a curveball out of that same area.
With that pitch in the dirt, the runners go throw to second, and they got him. A very smart choice by Jason Castro, who does a terrific job picking up an out here. Into third base on the wild pitch is Austin Jackson, but watch this reaction.
I think if the shift is not on, Altuve is not there to cover on that play. But
that's a good point.
Being the trail runner, sometimes you got to take a peek at the lead runner and make sure they go before you take off. That's why there might have been a little bit of a delay from Robinson Cano. But you'd like to see, as a trail runner, you try and extend your lead from first base a little bit larger than you normally would too.
Again, 2 outs here in the inning. Man at third base, Cruz at the plate, a 1-2 count. That's well spotted. Let's see what goes on this play and what Castro's dealing with.
But look at Altuve. That's just an uncharacteristic play to be able to backdoor a trail runner like that without putting a play on. It's pretty heads up on both their parts.
And the breaking ball got him. There's that over-the-top yacker. That's just the second strikeout for Colin McHugh. It comes at a big time. Seattle picks up a run and leads by a run.
As we head into the top of the fourth inning. There you go, Ash. A little representation. Kick off your weekends at Minute Maid Park. Every Friday night home game is followed by the best fireworks show in town. Presented by Marathon Oil Corporation. For more information, visit astros.com/fireworks or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. You're kind of a big deal, Ash.
You know what? I'm kind of cool hanging out with Charlie Kerfeld. The thing about it, hanging with Charlie Kerfeld, if you were heading off on a road trip, for example, there was sure to be food. I mean, if Charlie had a coat on of any kind, just search the pockets. There would be chicken or pizza or something going on.
Sounds like a good friend to have.
Oh, he was a great guy to hang with.
Didn't have to go by the food trucks on the way home. Hey, Charlie, what do you got?
You never had to be hungry. Great guy, Charlie Kerfeld. And Charlie is one of the big execs with the Philadelphia Phillies. Has been for some time. They don't make a move without Charlie being involved.
Actually ran into him at the winter meetings this
off-season
down in San Diego.
Jason Castro just kind of swinging through that high heat tonight. Struck out in the first inning. That was the second of 5 picked up by Walker on the evening.
He did not have a food item on him at that moment.
Well, he did. He told you he didn't have it.
He's hogging it all for himself, huh?
You know, if you catch Charlie at one of those hungry moments, you're not getting it.
Lose a hand.
I actually had the pleasure of managing in that independent league, the Texas Louisiana League, for a couple of years. Charlie was one of the managers, as was Jose Cruz. Strike 3 call. Jason Castro gets rung up. And I don't think Jason's in agreement.
He's slightly annoyed with the call from C.B. Buckner. And according to our strike zone, that was a strike.
Well, radar rather has that right at the top of the zone. What's the player's reaction when he feels that strongly at home plate, heads back into the clubhouse and sees what we just saw? Is there a tendency to say, no way, that's a mistake? Marwin pops one up on the left side. Miller will have the play on the outfield grass, and 2 down here in the 4th inning.
Tonight's league leaders are brought to you by your local Honda dealer. Most home runs since 2013.
I have no problem with that.
A couple guys on there. So, how about Adam Jones there in the middle? 67 home runs.
Well,
he does it quietly.
Have you paid attention to the start on the year for Adam Jones?
I have not. You lighten it up?
Adam Jones is leading the American League at the start of play today at 442. Of course, you go to the National League, Adrian Gonzalez has been out of his mind. He's at 460. But yeah, Adam Jones, 442, and he's got 16 RBIs, tied with Nelson Cruz in that category. So he's off to a terrific start. 5 dingers for Adam Jones, the fine center fielder for the Orioles. Chris Carter, strikeout victim in the 2nd inning. And then have you looked in the American League at at least a couple of the guys with the most wins right now? 3 guys have 3 wins in the American League to lead. And 2 of those guys are Detroit Tigers, and names that most people would have no association whatsoever with the Detroit Tigers. Shane Green and Alfredo Simon have 3 wins apiece. Mark Burley with the Blue Jays also at 3, but kind of astounding. And then you go to the National League, 3 others with 3 wins. Matt Harvey, no surprise for me. Bartolo Colon?
Of course, Bartolo Colon.
Is he in his 5th decade in the major leagues?
He's just hitting his prime.
Maybe. Half swing. Did he go? Palms down. So Chris Carter finally catches, well, I don't know if you want to call it a break, but things go his way as he draws the walk. Adrian Gonzalez, let's see what he's doing.
Good grief. Such a beautiful swing left-handed.
Hit 3 in 1 ball game.
An extension.
That one just got out, but number 3 is going to be well back in the bleachers.
How about the Braves?
How about the Brewers are doing nothing offensively? Jonathan Lucroy, who had a great year last year, now is out, but his numbers have been really ragged. Fly ball left center field, dropping, and it does drop in front. Jackson now picks it up, heading to third base. Carter, and into second with a double is Colby Rasmus. So a 2-out walk to Carter. Rasmus promptly doubles to left center field, and now 2 runners aboard in scoring position as Jake Marisnick comes to the plate.
Better set your DVR and record this, because Colby Rasmus just hit one almost the other way.
Ooh,
he hasn't yet to do that this season. I'm sure that'll count as a base hit to center field, but he did a good job of staying on this one. The outfield shift was well around on the pull side. And I also like the fact that he took the extra base there.
Well, good chance for Marisnick to get the Astros back in it. 2-1. Mariners on top here in the 3rd inning. Make that the 4th inning. Marisnick drew a walk and then scored the lone Houston run in the 3rd. And what a job it was coming to the plate on the little, what turned out to be sac fly for George Springer.
A good time for some 2-out lightning.
I don't know what you think. I think in watching Jake Marisnick that he looks pretty sound at the plate right now. He looks like he's turning the corner, a guy who's never really hit a whole lot.
It's good to see a guy like him get out to a quick start.
Yeah, he's a big, strong guy.
Oh, that can't feel good. Nice, crisp evening. 95 off the shoulder blade.
Wow.
Good times. I love baseball.
You start seeing mid-90s running up and in on hitters, and that is so dangerous.
Well, if you, that area of the body's warming up real quick with all the blood rushing to it now.
You had better turn in the correct direction.
Good grief.
You hate to chuckle at somebody's expense, but for those of us who have been there, you kind of get an idea what's going through the head.
The only reason I maybe give a little bit of a chuckle is because he's okay, number one. But the other is that there's another aspect of the game I don't miss.
Not a bit. Not one bit. Seattle has a brief meeting at the mound. Jake Marisnick had his own private meeting in his own head. Bases are loaded. Jose Altuve at the plate, and again, hitless here in the series. 0 for 6 now. And what a time this would be to break out.
It's an interesting number right there. Career with the bases loaded for Altuve, 206. Huh.
Remember the grand slam at Fenway last year?
Yeah, that was a big one.
Maybe one of those times. I wonder if Jose went to the plate thinking, just take a look at one pitch. Just see it, and then put the head on one. Close, but a good call. So it's Carter at third, Rasmus at second, Marisnick at first. And a ground ball up the middle. Miller gets to it, feeds to Cano, and that's the force play, and does it for Houston in the fourth. They get a hit and leave 3 in the inning as Altuve is now 0 for 7 on the brief series. It's 2-1 Seattle after 3.5. Order a pizza from Papa John's and get a free tree courtesy of TXU Energy.
You really get a tree?
You know, how does that transaction take place? You see the big truck going down the street with the...
Just bring the skip loader and put it in the front yard for you?
That pizza will be $7.99.
And here's your oak tree.
That's a good deal. Take advantage. 2-1 Seattle. 5-hitter Kyle Seager at the plate. Hit a little dribbler up the third base line in the second inning, and a very nice play by Colin McHugh picked up and out. A run on 3 hits for Houston, 2 runs, 4 hits for the Mariners. Shift on. That leaves only Valbuena on the left side.
Were there umpires that you had to catch with, Ashley, you just couldn't stand, and he brings you up on a borderline call and you got to go back there and hang out with him?
Takes it down the right field line, and that's going to drop extra bases into the corner. Springer will get it back in, not before a double is had by Kyle Seager.
My timing on some of these questions is just perfect.
So if you consider a question now, just you might want to eat it.
I'm going to wait until the Astros are up
before there's a extra base hit for Seattle to be had.
Well, I'm eating everything else up here.
Yeah, you're doing a good job of it too, I might add.
It's a good job by Seager, turning on that inside little slider. First hit in 15 at bats for Seager off McHugh.
Seth Smith at the plate. That's 5 Seattle hits. And to your question, I didn't have anybody that I just really had a hard time with, although, you know, I feel now like I'm kind of lying to myself. That there's always a personality, I think, that maybe you don't get along with all that well. But I don't think they ever really flared up. I think that a night like Jason Castro had last night, when maybe he disagreed with the strike zone a bit, can leave you edgy with somebody, and that can kind of create a relationship that may not be the best. But
I always had a tough time with I'd have a tough time the night before getting some rough calls and then go down to third base and have to hang out with a guy for the entire game.
Yeah, so you start kind of jawing with a guy at the plate, and then the next night you've got to be kind of friendly down at third base. That is tough, I would imagine. Yeah, the challenge as a catcher is that you're always trying to make sure that you've got things right for your pitcher.
Yeah.
And so if you have one of those really ugly relationships behind the plate, can you get that good performance done for your pitcher? Try to work the inside edge, McHugh. 2 balls and a strike. That leadoff double is such a great opportunity to score, and that means as a pitcher you got to find a way to get out number 1 without that runner moving up.
That's where the strikeouts are nice for McHugh, to get him with those guys in scoring position, especially a leadoff double. Strike a guy out, don't allow him to move him over.
Oh, that's a heck of a 2-1 pitch.
Yeah, that's pretty nasty.
And you could say, well, it wasn't even in the strike zone. Exactly.
But look at how late that breaks.
You start it at the knees, and then you dive that slider.
Good late bite to it. Get the hitter to commit, and then the ball breaks right under the swing.
And now the turn to second base. Marwin Gonzalez, the shortstop, with that shift on near the bag. I always like to see those pitchers on the hill that weren't afraid to throw to the bases. Get that throw up to the infielder. I imagine the toughest play for you was when the pitcher would try to make the perfect throw down into the runner.
Oh, that was hard, yeah. A lot of things going on in one small space. Doesn't lead to a lot of fun.
Just reaching out and flipping one foul down the left side is Smith. Smith had a base hit, ramming one on the ground through the right side in the second inning. Big moment for Colin McHugh. It's a big first out to get. Mariners had 3 hits in the third inning, and this one in the dirt kicks away from Castro, and that kind of takes care of that. So the runner, Kyle Seager, now at third base, nobody out. Jason Castro has done a lot of work this evening with pitches in the dirt. And that one just simply comes up. It hits chest protector, but on the left side, and kicks down the third base line. Can't fault Jason one bit there.
You say it looked like he did everything right.
Yep. It's amazing. You'll see nights with certain guys where every ball will drop right out in front of him. And I immediately think of Brad Ausmus. He used to just be astounding. As that pitch down and in, and that'll be a walk to Smith. That puts runners at the corners. Nobody out for Logan Morrison. Brings out Brent Strom. So he'll take the stroll to the mound. That's the second walk of the evening issued by Colin McHugh. Yeah, that's the view you see on the mound a lot of times. Pitcher kind of looking in another direction. It's tough. I mean, you've got things swimming in your own head. You know what you're doing wrong, or you feel like you know. And you probably feel like you know what you got to do to try to make the best of the situation.
Well, you go out there with a game plan, and sometimes the release point just isn't there. The ball's not coming out of your hand the way you want. You're missing spots, falling behind. Not going to be perfect every time out there. McHugh trying to battle around some of these situations that he's in now. But yeah, an uncharacteristic night for him. Like you said, we've seen him get a little wild, but he's always been able to rein it back in.
That pitch not close. It's 1 ball and no strikes.
And this is really the first time that the Astros have been in a cold environment. You guys have been hanging around in Texas where the weather's been pretty good or the roof has been closed. And now you're dealing with a little bit of crisp air. Maybe not having the best feel of the baseball right now.
Line shot, gloved, and now dropped by Altuve. He'll get an out at second base, and a very intriguing play. Had he caught the line drive, I'm not sure at this moment if he could have gotten a double play. What have they ruled this?
No, the first base umpire immediately put his hands out to the side, saying that Altuve did not make the catch. And that should be Lance. Lance Barrett at first base. We can see immediately the first base umpire putting his hands out, signaling safe. But with that ball being hit so hard on a line, he gloved that too. That ball did not hit ground. But it froze the runner at third base, and Kyle Seager, he had to hold his ground.
That was a rocket off the bat, and yet when it's all said and done, nobody in essence moves up. You get an out, and now a double play could get you out of the inning. Brad Miller at the plate. But it doesn't. Line drive, base hit. That plate's a run. 3-1 Seattle. Stopping at second base is Morrison. And so Brad Miller comes through with a big base hit. For Brad Miller, his 6th RBI.
It's a great piece of hitting. A little mini shift on him with the shortstop Marwin playing up the middle. Does a good job going the other way with a fastball.
Yeah, the question I would ask myself is, was there an endeavor there to hit the ball through the left side? One way or another, as you say, great work by Brad Miller.
Well, you can say he had intent now.
Yeah. Works for me. Mike Zunino had a base hit in the 3rd inning as he led off. And that was maybe a turnaround moment for Zunino.
Mariners sure hope so.
Yeah, he did not look on top of his game last night. And you know Seattle wants him to play 140 games this year. Fly ball, shallow right center field. Medium depth. Springer's there. Runners tag. The catch is made, but going nowhere at second base is Logan Morrison. People are getting the word that George Springer can bring it from right field.
Puts himself in a great position. Good grief, is that a Nike glove? I can barely see it.
Has he been wearing that all along?
Good Lord.
I have a feeling there's a satellite up somewhere that can pick that up.
Pick up Root Sports on that.
Wow.
No, but George Springer puts himself in a great spot. I mean, he's got all the tools, and that's a great arm that nobody wants to run on.
2 outs now. Leadoff man Dustin Ackley at the plate. And that semi-shift on again. Yeah, I wonder that space station, if they got a chance to glimpse down, if we didn't have the roof closed here this evening, if they'd have been able to spot the glove of George Springer. Well, Nike's right down the road. I mean,
it is. Well, it could be the LED lighting they have here too that exaggerates it.
So it's just a normal size swoosh on there, but the lighting. Okay, I got it.
Yeah,
I got it.
I'm here for you.
You always are.
Oh, Sally. Now she has to make the long run to go get it.
Talk about scouts at the ballpark. Jeff Blum always out scouting the ball girls and everybody else and getting names, and just impressive work.
It's a full-time job, Ash.
It is for everybody, but not many fulfill all the requirements. So 2-1 pitch, just away. Well, it's not the sharpest Colin McHugh that we've seen.
Well, the Mariners aren't chasing anything off the edges either. To give them credit for working these counts, but they have been in a lot of hitters' counts.
Ackley, 267 lifetime against Houston. Ground ball right there is Marwin Gonzalez, and he'll start toward the bag and then get the out at first base. That'll do it. Seattle puts another on the board and leads 3-1.
Home run than Kevin Costner, as he shows us in our Geico quote of the day.
You know, I mean, everybody wants to play on grass like this. That's out of here. That's a home run. Wow, he hit that a long ways. You know, I mean, everybody wants to play on grass like this. That's out of here. That's a home run. Wow, he hit that a long ways. You know, I mean, everybody wants to play on grass like this. That's out of here. That's a home run. Wow, he hit that a long ways.
You didn't know you were going to get to call the game, too, did you?
No, but, you know, you can tell when it jumps off the bat. I mean, you know, look how happy everybody in the Astros is right now.
Fire and enthusiasm from the booth, Kevin Costner. And there's a drive to right field. What does Costner have to say? A great running grab in right field. And out number 1, Seth Smith making the play. Luis Valbuena almost coming through to give Costner another shot.
Line drive to right field. Seth Smith on his horse. He made the play.
Was that Costner or was that you?
That was Costner.
Was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
Called him up. It's a pretty good play by Seth Smith.
Pretty well hit.
Valbuena.
Well hit ball by Valbuena. George Springer at the plate is 1 for 1 at a first inning single and then a sac fly. Well, okay, he popped out to shortstop, but on that pop out, a nice play by Brad Miller, the shortstop, but an even better play by Jake Marisnick, who tagged at third, came to the plate, initially was called out at home plate. C.B. Buckner saw an out in that play, but the review, A.J. Hinch able to get things overturned. Got the review. A great job by Marisnick as he avoided the tag.
Absolutely. George Springer. Maybe take him out for lunch tomorrow for that, getting him that RBI.
You know, that's a really good point on teams. When you have a teammate that picks you up a little bit, and he's not thinking about you necessarily, he's just trying to do the job for the team.
Not?
Okay, well, in your case, the guys did, but you know, in some cases, it was all about the team.
No, that's a great move.
Yeah. No, it's so much appreciated by teammates, and it starts to kind of swell a relationship, I think, on a club. When people talk about chemistry on a team, I think chemistry comes about because guys play baseball like that, not because just social event type stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, are the same attitudes or they're from the same parts of the country, but it's the way they play the game that creates that chemistry. I agree.
There's the slider getting the strikeout of Springer. 7 strikeouts for Taijuan Walker. That's 2 outs here in the 5th.
Pretty nasty slider there on 3-2. Springer had himself a pretty good at bat until Taijuan broke off some filth right there.
George didn't get cheated.
Never does.
Evan Gattis. See that front side kind of popping open early right there.
Danger.
That will not serve you well unless you get the fastball right where you're looking for it. That not a fastball.
Yeah, that front hip leaks out a little too quick. It creates a long swing when you lose that backside.
And now a 1-2 count. Evan Gattis hitting $1.25 right now. It hurts. And probably the biggest hurt is you know you're not getting it done for your teammates. And down on strikes. 2 in the inning, 8 on the night for Taijuan Walker. He is bringing the gas and leads it 3-1.
You know, I mean, everybody wants to play
Presented by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. We're into the bottom of the fifth inning. Seattle with a 3-1 lead. They've doubled the Astros and hit 6-3 as this pitch is rammed to right center field, but back quickly and making the play, George Springer. One pitch, one out. That's Austin Jackson lining out. That'll bring up three-hitter Robinson Cano. Cano on the night has grounded out, driving in a run in the first inning, giving Seattle then a 1-0 lead. And then singled, plating another, that in the third inning. Taking a 1-1 tie and making it 2-1 Seattle. They've added another, that in the fourth inning. Great player right there. 304 batting average this year. Two for four in last night's game. Had a pair of doubles. And drew a walk. He takes a strike. It's the 32nd game that Cano has played against the Astros on his career. Comes in with a .353 batting average and 20 ribbies against Houston. When you watch Cano with the bat, what do you see that sets him apart as one of the outstanding hitters in the game?
He's got such a good rhythm about his swing. He's so smooth and fluid, but it's just the hands, the quick hands. He gets back, he's always ready to hit. Bat path for him is so good. Talk about guys staying in the zone a long time. He's one of those guys. That's why he has the ability to go line to line.
He lines one on a hop. Nice play by Altuve as he gets the out. Cano just jogs it down the line. But I mean, he will hang out line drive after line drive. Middle of the order guys for Seattle have been doing quite a job.
Well, and a lot of the discussion last year when they signed Cano was they needed a big right-handed bat to complement this lineup and split up Cano and Seager, and they've got that guy in Cruz. And you can see how well it mixes together and creates a pretty formidable 3-4-5 in the American League.
I think it's part of the reason a lot of people have picked Seattle as the team maybe to come out of the American League this year and go to the World Series. They've got good arms on the pitching staff, both in the starting staff and from the bullpen. And then there's this guy, Nelson Cruz, probably as good a power hitter as there is in the American League right now.
Yeah, and I think what you said about their pitching, their starting pitching is real good. Their bullpen last year was phenomenal. If they can repeat that same success this year with the offense they've added, should be a good season up here.
Sometimes you think at the start of the year you can spot the teams that are going to be good and make it to postseason, but I don't even know if the majority of the time that's easy to tell. Teams change over the course of the year.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. You try and project how a team's going to be in one season based on their previous season.
Yeah. A lot of people think that, well, the next step just follows. Not necessarily. Pop fly left side. Valbuena makes the play, and that'll do it. A 1-2-3 inning turned in by Colin McHugh.
#1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment at any moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com at Bat for your smartphone or tablet. We're back at Safeco Field where garlic fries is pretty popular here, but there's a new food item on the menu this year. It's the crab sandwich, Dungeness crab. I think there's a slice of tomato on garlic sourdough bread. Guys, I hope this makes me warm. Here we go. This is good. It's the winner.
Yeah, thanks, Julia. That could be dinner for a couple of guys up here in the booth tomorrow.
Yeah, no kidding.
That looks all right. Jason Castro leading off. Astros trailing by a pair. 3-1 as we go to the 6th inning. And Taijuan Walker has been everything he's been advertised to be. 8 punch-outs through 5. A couple of those strikeouts coming against Castro. Evan Gattis also has struck out twice this evening. Not quite that high, but the high fastball has been a big impact pitch tonight.
Such a tough pitch to lay off as a hitter. Looks so enticing, and then all of a sudden it jumps by you, especially with Taijuan Walker's velocity.
I'm sure your story is the same as mine. The number of times in your career you've been involved in a ball game where a guy's out there throwing hard, high fastballs, guys aren't getting to it, and everybody, manager and hitting coach, are saying lay off that pitch, but you try to, you just can't.
There's some kind of mental block.
Slice line drive to the gap in left center. That drops. Jackson gets it back in. A big turn by Castro, but he's held to a single. So a leadoff single as Castro is now 1 for 3 on the night. That gap in left center field last night was heavily utilized, and Castro takes advantage tonight.
Just let that ball travel. Good piece of hitting. You don't have to do too much work when a guy's throwing that hard. Just lay the barrel out there and let the speed and the barrel of the bat do the work.
And now Marwin Gonzalez, who gets the start at shortstop tonight. 0 for 2. He has struck out once.
Good eye.
That one close.
Oh, I was way outside.
Was it? I got to go get my eyes checked. 286 batting average. Steady performer last year. Did a lot of things well. It's one high in the air. Left center field. It's Ackley with the call. And out number 1 here in the 6th. Dominic Leone, the right-hander, loosening in the pen in left center field for Seattle.
Pitch count getting up there for Taijuan Walker at 94 as you get a look at Dominic.
Yeah, Blummer was just talking about the arms for Seattle in the bullpen. They've got a load of guys who can bring the heat on you. Chris Carter at the plate. Struck out in the 2nd inning and has drawn a walk. I don't know, is there a ray of light yet for Carter to take a run at?
Not that I've seen.
And that's when it's really tough, is when you even know personally that there's just nothing going on at the moment. We talked about Carter. Last year had a slow start. A lot of question marks were swirling. Will he ever get it going? And then he wound up with 37 home runs. And I'm not sure, was there an aha moment for Chris Carter last year when any of us said it's happening?
Didn't he have that month where, or I don't know if it was an exact month or if it was maybe a 30-game stretch where all of a sudden he just jumped out and had about 15, 16 home runs, and that's when we kind of realized, wow, he's putting up some numbers.
Well, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the numbers on Carter last year as a meeting goes on at the mound for Seattle. And I think this meeting is maybe as much about providing time in the bullpen for Seattle as anything. But Chris Carter, you can see the focus in the stare. Last year, the month of April, saw him hit 153. And now a 3-1 count. It was the month of July that finally saw Carter seem to get it. He hit 289 that month, 8 home runs, and then August came along. He hit 270 with 12 home runs.
Yeah.
And so it was really late in the year. And had there been that inclination to say, okay, you've had enough of an opportunity, you're going to have to sit or go back down, we would have never seen the 37 home runs. But right there, he takes a pitch that probably is one to jump all over.
3-1 fastball on the outer half, get extended on it.
It's a piece and fouls it back. 3-1 mindset is what?
Well, that 3-1 mindset in August for Chris Carter is he demolishes that ball. He's a big kid. Doesn't matter if the ball's inside, outside. He had the ability to drive the ball to all parts of the ballpark last year. But right now, you have that. When you have that just inkling of a doubt, you're not going to let that bat go.
That pitch was probably closer than just an automatic ball 4. Zunino dropped it, but it is ball 4. Second time Carter has drawn a walk, puts a pair of runners aboard, and Lloyd McClendon, the skip, coming out. And so that's going to do it for Taijuan Walker. Seattle will go to the bullpen. Dominic Leone has been throwing. He will be summoned. He'll come on with 1 out, 2 runners aboard, and Colby Rasmus coming to the plate. So Seattle with that lead here in the 6th.
Taking a look ahead at April and May on our progressive upcoming schedule. One more game up here in the Great Northwest before flying down to take on the Oakland A's with the day off on Thursday. Spend the weekend in San Francisco and cruising across the bay to broadcast those 3 games in Oakland before heading down to Southern California, where we will spend beautiful 3 days in San Diego before the team has to head back to Houston and face some more guys in the division.
You're going to have your family in San Diego, right?
Yes, it will be chaotic in that booth, I guarantee it.
Well, that sounds good. And how about the off day? What you got planned?
I'm not sure. I think I'm going to try and go have some breakfast with my old college coach, Bob Milano, up there in the Berkeley area. Try and reconnect with some of those guys that I played college baseball with as you get a chance to look at some of the numbers on Dominic Leone this season.
One of those big arms out of this bullpen. Started out well in 3 games, 1.59 ERA. How about a guy with this kind of arm starting the year in AAA? Good breaking ball to start him. Colby Rasmus with a double and 2 at-bats. He was caught looking in the 2nd inning. The Astros in need of a big swing.
Talk about a big arm, and Leon comes in and throws 2 breaking balls to get hit early on Colby.
And the likelihood is that Colby Rasmus going to the plate thought, I'm going to get me a fastball early in the count, see if I can get that big swing for the team. One-two pitch to Rasmus. Another breaking ball, and very well spotted.
Yeah, I'm not too sure the scouting report the Astros have said that he's going to throw this many breaking balls. Colby Rasmus just saw 4 in a row. Leon not giving in with runners in scoring position.
So Jake Marisnick now with 2 outs. Marisnick was hit by a pitch that in the 4th inning. Also Drew Milwaukee has scored a run. That breaking ball inducing a very poor swing.
So he's got a slider, curveball.
Yeah,
right?
Apparently. And that danger is you go to the plate, you think I'm going to get me a fastball early in the count, and you start that early swing that you saw from Marisnick. There's the fastball, but he misses. Leon just a couple of years in the big leagues, and in 60 major league games, an ERA of 2.13. In fact, last year, 57 games, 2.17 the ERA, and doesn't start this year with the Mariners.
Who took his spot? My goodness.
I think Mike Marshall may have made a comeback.
Leon didn't throw enough innings out of the bullpen last year. So
yeah. Mike Marshall out of the bullpen one year. I don't know what it was, but as a closer, I think he threw like 150, 60 innings.
Right on. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah, I wonder what the doctors would say today about that. 3-1 the count. Last year in 66 plus innings, just 4 homers allowed by Leon. Fastball got in on the hands just a bit. That'll fill it. It puts the runners in motion. Castro from second, Carter from first. And a big pitch. Runners go, breaking ball. Hit on the ground up the middle. Miller can only knock it down. And everybody's safe. Infield single Marisnick. And the bases are now loaded. And for a second time tonight, bases juice for Jose Altuve.
Well, it was a good job at Miller keeping this one in front of him and not allowing Castro to come around, but the ball kind of squibbed off the end of the bat, and I'm sure Brad Miller was trying to do a little bit more with that than what he did. It's a tough play. It's kind of that swinging changeup off the bat. Your initial reaction is to the line drive, and you take a great big first step, and then all of a sudden you find out you've overrun it.
Yeah, I guess there are those plays, and you would know much better than I would, where you're just not going to look like the acrobat trying to make the play.
Yeah, sometimes baseball will do that to you.
So it's Castro now at third, Carter at second, Marisnick at first. Carter represents the tying run. You're just in the 6th inning. And if you're the manager, you're always juggling. How do we play this? Do you pinch run? Do you need the bat later? But it's all taken care of for you by Altuve as he flies out. And that'll do it. Second time tonight, Altuve has had that opportunity. 3-1 Seattle.
Thursday regular season games throughout the season. This offer scores you a ticket, hot dog, soda, and popcorn, all for just $16. To purchase tickets, visit astros.com/Coke value or call 1-877-9-ASTROS.
Here we go. Astros, cold 45s. It's not really that warm, is it? Are you feeling that toasty?
No, not at all.
I bet Julia's just downright.
She's loving this
Caribbean
weather. This
down
is,
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little more like it right there. That's the way Blummer and I are attired here in the booth.
Yep. You got to stay warm.
My lips are frozen. I can't talk.
Are you really that cold?
Come on.
Yes. Earlier I got rained on when I was eating my crab sandwich.
Is it still raining?
It was earlier.
We're in the bottom of the sixth inning. Kyle Seager at the plate. 3-1. Seattle on top. Julia Morales is cold, and that covers about everything we've been dealing with.
I don't know. This space heater we got up here is
Yeah,
really
that's
just
nice.
cutting through the ice.
That is toasty, isn't it? Do they actually sell this or give this away as a...
Why do we still have it on?
Is this a giveaway at the stadium? Here's a drive to right field and deep. Springer back at the track, at the wall, and makes the catch. So Seager comes up just shy. Flies out for out number one here in the sixth inning.
I don't know if I'm disappointed. We didn't get a chance to see George Springer elevate and make another fantastic play. This one was driven well, but a relatively easy play for the right fielder.
Looked like Seager might have gotten out in front just a bit.
Yep.
Did you ever hit those breaking balls where you get out in front, but you hit it just right and the ball carries forever?
Oh, yeah.
Full
A
extension
couple
on
of
your
those,
arms.
yeah. Well, it drives the pitchers nuts because they think they make a pretty good pitch. But you're able to clip it just enough out in front with enough barrel on it, and it gets that good backspin and hangs out there for a while.
Something about full extension where it doesn't look like you did everything right, but the ball really goes. Seth Smith, 1 for 1. He has walked to go along with a second inning single. Well, that curveball starting to come around for Colin McHugh. Giants are leading 4-1 over the Dodgers. Tim Lincecum on the mound for the Giants. That game in the 6th inning, again from San Francisco. Good fastball pumped right through it, 91. I don't know, has Colin gained a little MPH here late in the game?
I'm sure the command's coming back. Everything is awesome.
Do you have to act like that all night long if you wear that costume?
I don't know.
Tapper over the mound. Coming on, Marwin makes the nice play. Very nicely done with that shift on. Marwin playing almost like a second baseman.
Tough slow roller around the bag too. Maybe even stepped on it when he came up to make that play.
Yeah, no guarantees on that play.
There you go. Impromptu double play.
Logan Morrison at the plate. Impromptu means they're just not going to give you the second out, I guess.
Yeah, unfortunately not. Can't take that to arbitration.
It's a good curveball at the knees. Texas with a 5-1 lead at Arizona. They're in the top of the 8th inning. The Angels are hosting the Oakland A's. 6th inning. 4-1 Angels on top. On the hands. 0-2 quickly the count on Morrison. Early struggles for this left-hand hitter. 191 the batting average.
Nasty little cutter right there.
Cleveland has defeated the White Sox 6-2. The White Sox with a big come from behind 9th inning victory yesterday. Cincinnati puts up 16 runs today in Milwaukee and wins 16-10. Would say things are not going well for the Brewers.
Yeah. No joy in Milwaukee.
If only they had a power hitting, left-hand hitting first baseman.
They could use a spark, couldn't they?
Yeah. I know Julia's been scouting around and might have some answers for him. And now the count 3-2.
Sign of things not going your way when you lose their catcher LaCroix to a broken toe, and then their second baseman
Gene Segura. Is that
no Scooter Gannett?
Yes.
Sliced his hand in the shower after the game.
And down on strikes is Morrison. A 1-2-3 6th inning. That's 8 in a row retired by Colin McHugh. 3-1 Seattle.
Valbuena will be up first in this inning, who's provided a spark for this Astros lineup here recently. He's 1 for 2 today with a walk, but coming off that 2-home-run game, A.J. Hinch getting a lot of questions about Valbuena and what kind of impact he's made on this team recently. A.J. really liking him in that 2-hole spot. He says it gives great balance to the top of the lineup, hitting behind Altuve. It's worked out nicely, especially coming from the left side. He's splitting up the righties at the top of the lineup too, and Valbuena just happy to be here. I know I told that story yesterday. Just thrilled to be a Houston Astro and for the opportunity to be an everyday guy, which he's really turning out to be, guys.
Thanks, Julia. And it is a good feeling when you're able to go to a new ball club and have early success. A couple of changes for Seattle here as we go to the 7th inning. Justin Ruggiano takes over defensively in right field. And on the mound, they bring in their 3rd pitcher of the night, Carson Smith.
Saw Carson yesterday. It was hard. Fastball, slider, changeup. Southland Conference Pitcher of the Year in 2010. That's saying something right there.
So that makes you stand up and take notice?
Man, that's why he's here. I don't even know who's in the Southland Conference.
I was going to say, where is that?
Sam Houston State.
Ah.
Oh, that's where the great Steve Sparks pitched. Or did he just pitch at Sam Houston?
Steve Sparks pitched.
I'm telling him you said that too. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Valbuena, Springer, and Gaddis here in the 7th inning. Tough night for Jose Altuve. He's 0 for 4, and twice with 2 outs has come to the plate with the bases juiced and hasn't been able to come through. I wonder if Julia's staying as warm as we are. We have shed the coats up here.
Gosh, it's like a sauna.
I sense a commercial. Nice. Valbuena 1 for 2 on the night. He has walked, singled, and lined to right field. That drive to right field in the 5th inning hit it well, but just didn't get under enough. Stays on the breaking ball, fouls it off.
Wow.
Say that word again for me.
It's like a sauna.
Nice. Yes.
So southeastern Louisiana, northwestern state, Houston Baptist, Sam Houston State, McNeese State, Central Arkansas, A&M Corpus Christi. It's in the Southland Conference. Stephen F. Austin.
Fly ball left field. It's going to hang up as Ackley makes the catch. Out number 1 here in the 7th inning.
Our Whataburger What a Play tonight is George Springer at the dish, putting the ball in play. Shallow pop. Brad Miller goes back on it, and recognizing the shortstop was going to make the play. Jake Marisnick took a chance. Was originally called out, but upon further review, Jake Marisnick made a right choice and made a fantastic slide into home plate to be called safe.
George Springer 1 for 2 on the night.
The lone run in the game. A couple of bases loaded opportunities for the reigning batting champ, and he has not come through.
Yeah, I was checking out Texas State University, the Bobcats, San Marcos, Texas. They've got a pretty strong alumni or alumnus. Paul Goldschmidt went there.
Goldie.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
Scott Linebrink, a former.
Another great guy. Some good people at this school.
Tom Hankey.
Tom Hanks?
Not that one. Not the actor. The hard-throwing right-hand reliever with the Toronto Blue Jays. As Springer takes a strike. Billy Grabarkowitz.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, they had some names that went through there. Chopper to third, 2 hops, handled by Seager, and out number 2. That'll bring up Evan Gaddis, who's 0 for 3 with a couple punch outs. In that Angels series back at home, there were moments as we see Charlie Furbush warming up.
Yes.
Good slider in for a strike. Moments where I thought Evan Gattis was really going to find it. I thought it was getting ready to get unlocked. But you know, you can get so close sometimes and it slips away and you just keep grinding.
Well, you called it earlier, and you've seen it on these first two, not check swings, but it approaches to the breaking ball. That front side of Evan Gattis is flying open early.
And it doesn't have to be a lot. You just have to see the shoulder and or hip moving open, and there it is, down on strikes. Evan Gattis, third time tonight, and a 1-2-3 7th inning. Seattle leads it 3-1.
Time now for the AT&T Rewind. We're going to take a look down at Corpus Christi. And that's Tony Kemp airing it out to make that play in center field. Now remember, he's a natural second baseman, but showing a great deal of athleticism out there in center field and absolutely no regard for his body whatsoever.
Wow.
That was impressive.
Remember how Pete Rose used to dive into bags? And
yep.
It was this airborne job as opposed to the kind of push into the ground. That's what that looked like to me with Tony Kemp. The airborne job, and you kind of stick it when you land. Joe Thatcher gets loose in the Astros pen. Colin McHugh works now into the 7th inning, trailing 3-1. He'll face the 8, 9, and 1 hitters. A couple of left-handed bats mixed in. Brad Miller leads it off, 1 for 2 on the night. RBI single in the 4th inning that drove in run number 3 for the Mariners. On that minor league side last night, Fresno picked up an 8-4 win. They are now 8-4 on their season. Corpus Christi lost it 2-1. They're 7-4 on the year. Fly ball down the left field side. Colby Rasmus on the run and can't quite get there. As we'll take a look at some of the numbers. There you see Fresno 8-4, Corpus 7-4, Lancaster 6-6, and Quad Cities. The River Bandits 9-3. And look at some of the names involved there.
How about the records in place in the division? These guys are getting off to a good start. But yeah, those are names you're going to see again.
You like what John Singleton's doing?
I like what I'm hearing. I hear that a lot of these hits are going the other way, so that tells me he's making adjustments at the plate, and it's translating in the average.
Carlos Correa, no surprise. He just simply, I've heard some people in spring training say the best player on the field every time he's out there, regardless of where he's playing. Ground ball up the middle, out of the reach of Marwin Gonzalez. It's a base hit as Brad Miller gets things started in the 7th inning. Second hit on the night. one of those ground balls that if as a pitcher you don't make the play, you're just left with no chance.
Just one of those seeing eye singles.
But it looks like Carlos Correa just continues to dominate at any level he plays at.
He's good.
You know, you were mentioning Singleton hitting the ball the other way in spring training. Early on, he had like 5 doubles, and it looked like he was finding himself. But if you watched what was going on, he was pulling everyone down the right field side.
Oh, yeah?
At least what I saw. And then it caught up with him, and all of a sudden could not get the knocks. Ground ball to third. Valbuena on to Altuve and back to Carter, and they get the double play. First on the night, grounded into by Zunino. And just like that, 2 outs and the base is empty as Dustin Ackley comes to the plate.
Hasn't been an absolutely clean game for Colin McHugh, but doing a good job of pitching out of giving up that leadoff hit. Getting a nice easy ground ball to third base to turn that over to double up Zunino.
Have you noticed that when you don't get double plays, games tend to take a little longer?
Yeah.
Good curveball in there. Colin McHugh has found the command much better here in the past couple of innings.
Yeah, and he's pitched well. Only giving up 3 runs to this lineup is pretty impressive. He's kept his ball club in it, just missed opportunities by the Astros offense.
Keep in mind, Colin comes in having won 9 consecutive decisions. Dates back to July of last year. So he'd love to make it 10, but he's going to need some help from his friends with the bats.
Yeah, it's interesting. He came in with a 1.54 ERA, give up 3 runs, and it skyrockets to 2.45. His numbers early in the season were just the roller coaster ride.
Of course, with every out, that number will slice. 3-1 the count. Which is hit high in the air and way foul down the right field side.
That's putting it mildly. That was very Kevin Costner-ish of you. That ball is,
I don't think I have that call.
That ball was raked foul.
See, you went way overboard with that call.
Oh, when in doubt, exaggerate.
104 pitches now for Colin McHugh. Breaking ball, that's raked to right field. There is Springer on the run to make the play. So 3 batters come to the plate after that leadoff single in the inning. The double play factoring in. 3-1 Seattle.
Astros. Looking for games on certain days of the week, great giveaways, your favorite rivalries, or maybe a little of each. With the Astros 14-game flex plan, you can get You can get to pick the games and seat locations that work best for you. Purchase your 14-game flex plan today by visiting astros.com/tickets or calling 1-877-9-ASTROS.
Thought you were doing KC there for a while.
I was. A little top 40 for you?
Not that KC.
Oh, sorry.
Talking
Sunshine Band?
One of Julia's interviewees.
Oh. Get yourself a flex plan. Here's Charlie Furbush.
Furbush on the hill now for these Seattle Mariners. What have you got on Charlie?
Well, I think his socks are distracting me from saying his last name. Making his second appearance in this series. Yeah,
Robbie Grossman is now the pinch hitter. He'll bat for Jason Castro to start the 8th. The Astros just 5 hits on the night as they put 1 run on the board, and that came in a very tough fashion in the 3rd inning. It needed a reversal of a call at home plate. Jake Marisnick able to score eventually after the reversal of that call at the plate. Grossman now quickly with the count at 0-2. Are they just not making heaters like they used to?
No. It doesn't get cold up here. I don't know why they installed that thing.
When you can actually put one physically on your face, I would say it's not doing a whole lot.
Not putting off the heat you need.
I saw you just laying on that thing.
That was good. Just a quick little pick me up, a little refresher, a little dethaw. Defrost,
huh?
Whatever. My brain is frozen too.
I'm not sure that de-thawing is what we need at the moment. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Grossman. Marwin Gonzalez and Chris Carter to follow here in the 8th inning. And if Colin McHugh is to keep that winning string alive, these bats have got to come to life. Shot up the middle. Cano gets there but bobbles and can't make the play. And Robbie Grossman gets things started. We'll see how it's ruled.
Something you don't see too often. Usually Robinson Cano does a good job of coming up with some of these plays, but that last hop, you see it kind of skip off the grass before it took that second hop off the dirt and jumped up on him and ate him up.
And they've ruled it an E4. Robinson Cano doesn't get charged with many errors, but there's one right there. So maybe a break that the Astros need here in the 8th. Marwin Gonzalez at the plate. Marwin 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Hits it sharply, and that's by Cano. He was moving toward the bag, and that set up the hole. Robbie Grossman digs to 3rd. So Marwin comes through, slashes one through the right side. Runners at the corners, nobody out for Carter.
Notice the same thing you did too, Ash. The first move from Robinson Cano was to his right. And then Marwin Gonzalez promptly hits a bullet past him on his left. Watch Robinson Cano. Kind of leans right with that first step, and that's all it took to get the ball by him.
There was no reason from the runner, Robbie Grossman, for the movement, so I can only assume that Cano saw a pitch that looked like it might be pulled.
Yeah, he was probably anticipating the location. Maybe the way it came off of Marwin's bat, too.
And now a big chance for Chris Carter. 0 for 1 with a strikeout. He has walked twice. Furbush to first.
If ever there was a moment you wanted to see Chris Carter break out of it, now would be the time.
I can't imagine any possibility that a play gets put on for Carter right there, but good long look down at 3rd base. What has changed? He was so locked in July, August, and the end of the season last year.
For me, it's the same thing every time with Chris Carter. It's just that outer third of the part of the plate. His bat is quick in the zone, quick out of the zone. Therefore, he's not able to stay on that outside corner as long. And you watch the way he's being pitched. Everything is on that outside corner or an off-speed pitch. There you go.
Ground ball up the middle, base hit. So Carter comes through. It's now 3-2, Seattle on top. Still nobody out. Runners at first and second, and Colby Rasmus' spot is due up. And we'll see how the Astros play this one. And that'll bring Lloyd McClendon to the mound. So Charlie Furbush comes on. He gets betrayed by Robinson Cano's error to start the inning, but Chris Carter with a key base hit following the knock by Marwin Gonzalez.
And he let that ball travel a little bit more and stayed on it and threw it. Good job by Chris Carter.
So the Mariners go to the bullpen as Colby Rasmus will come to the plate, 1 run down.
Here's a look at tomorrow night's pitching matchup presented by Chevron. Care for your car. J.A. Happ, ex-Astro, going up against Roberto Hernandez, who does not look like that anymore. He's got 2 starts on the season, 0-1 record, 3.38 ERA. I faced that Roberto Hernandez.
Does he come with multiple names or what?
Multiple faces.
3-2. Astros trying to strike back here in the 8th inning. They have picked up a run. Unearned. Furbush is out, and now Danny Farquhar, the right-hander, comes on. Jed Lowry is the pinch hitter for the Rasmus spot in the order. Rasmus went 1 for 3 with a double and a couple of strikeouts. And Jed Lowry hitting .233. 3 big home runs, all from the right side, now batting left-handed. And a 2-0 count. Ground ball kicked by Cano got it started. And a couple of ground balls find holes. And here come the Stros. Breaking ball in for a strike. Yeah, if the Astros can get back in this game and take one for Seattle, no doubt be a bit of a backbreaker. 2-2 the count on Jed.
That'll show you some pretty good resolve from these Houston Astros, scrapping together, come back and win another ball game.
By the way, for Colin McHugh, the first of those 9 consecutive decisions picked up was back on August 12th last year. And now a 3-2 count. How gutsy do you play this one? Got a couple of guys aboard that don't run all that well. Marwin at second, Carter at first.
Jed's been having some good at-bats, can handle it.
And the walk, the bases are juiced. Still nobody out. Jake Marisnick comes to the plate. And the Bluebirds are out here in Seattle. Marisnick has reached all 3 plate appearances. He has walked, hit by a pitch, singled, and scored that first run of the night that we've talked about over and over. What a play by this fine athlete.
Nobody out.
Line shot left center field, and it drops. 1 run scores. Carter held at third base as Marwin had to hold on that ball in the air, and everybody moves up 90 feet. So Jake Marisnick, 2 for 2, has reached all 4 plate appearances, and the Astros have caught him at 3, and still nobody out.
How about the backbone of the Seattle Mariners last year when they were making their push was their bullpen. They closed out games. When they had a lead, they put people away. Here early in the season, the bullpen's not getting it done, and the Astros are taking advantage of every opportunity given to them. Error by Cano early in the inning. A couple of walks. Now Marisnick with a big knock. And Altuve up again with the bases loaded.
3rd time tonight for Jose. We'll see if the 3rd time is a charm. That batting average now has dipped to 276. 0 for 4 tonight. He was 0 for 4 last night. And that's how quickly things turn with just this many games that have been played. This is game number 14 for the Astros. Jose came in hitting .320.
Hey,
ball just to our right.
That's a good thing that those radio guys had the window closed, or else they would have had to make a play on that.
Wow.
Yeah, did you see that bus just run over him right there? Beep, beep.
I didn't hear I didn't hear the backup on. You were going.
You never do.
Full speed forward, line shot down the left field line. Extra bases. Carter scores. Lowry scores. Here comes Marisnick, a 3-run double, and the Astros have not only caught him, they now lead 6-3 here in the 8th inning. And there's your big swing of the ball game.
Can't give that guy too many opportunities to make a big swing at it. And Jose Altuve, with his 3rd opportunity with the bases loaded, turns on it. How about the Astros coming back? Came back for the win last night, coming back for the win tonight.
Okay, so right now, what are your big plays of the ball game if the game ended right here? Obviously, for me, one is this swing by Altuve.
Yeah, but I think it's the error that led off this inning.
Yeah, that's me as well.
That error was backed up by base hit, walk, base hit, double.
Without the error, you just don't know, does the Marwin ball get through on the right side? Does anything then follow? It's just such a huge play.
It is. Getting that lead out of every inning is so important.
1-1 on Valbuena. He pops it up on the infield. Morrison, the first baseman, calls off his pitcher, and finally an out. And it brings up George Springer.
Altuve had a tough couple of bats early on with the bases loaded, but right here gets himself a heater in a 2-strike count. And the kid's got such quick hands, able to line that over the reach of Seager. And you got the right guys on base too. Carter at third base, but Marisnick at first base is able to score easy all the way from first.
You know, as you mentioned, Marisnick scoring from first. Twice he has scored tonight. This time from first base, and then the other play from third on the pop fly to shortstop. Doesn't hurt having that guy on your team. 1 ball and a strike on Springer. George is 1 for 3. He's drawn a walk. Had a 3rd inning single. Jake Marisnick is turning into Very good player on this club. George Springer apparently had a rather unusual at bat in the 7th inning.
That's a good way of putting it.
Was it the 5th inning? Excuse me. He struck out. Runner goes, swing and a miss, and a stolen base for Altuve. If you're going to forget him, he's going to make you pay.
Little man can make things happen on the ball field.
Amen. Stolen base number 5 for Jose. Tied for first in the American League.
Big lead.
And now can Carter, or rather Springer, take advantage? He's the 8th hitter here in the inning, and he has a 3-2 count.
What are you going to throw to him 3-2 with the base open and Gaddis hitting behind him?
I don't know. Are 4 balls a walk on Springer? That's the question.
Well, part of the time it is, not every time.
By the way, the infield drawn in, the 3-2. That's inside, so he'll take a walk this time on ball 4. Apparently, he had 4 balls to him in the 5th inning, stayed at the plate, and, well, let's take a look at it.
Yeah, interesting sequence. It's one thing for us to miss it, but how did everybody else in that Astros dugout miss that? There's ball 1, strike 2, ball 2.
So we've got 2 and 2, and 3 and 2.
Ball 3.
And 4 and 2. And 4 and 3. Hit on the ground sharply to short. There's your double play. But the Astros have an inning. They put 5 on the board and go to the bottom of the 8th inning with a 6-3 lead over the Seattle Mariners. And this big swing by Altuve, certainly a key in the inning.
Bring man's best friend to Minute Maid Park for Astros Dog Day on Sunday, May 3rd as the Astros take on the Mariners. Come out early to enjoy dog-friendly activities like Pooch Parade, Vendors Expo, and much more. Get Dog Day tickets today by visiting Astros.com/Dog Day. And guys, as you are talking about Springer's strikeout that maybe should have been a walk, that actually came up on Twitter. A lot of people noticing, and guys from the Mariners side had brought that up and saying that the official scorer said they made a mistake right there, and nothing has been announced for the Astros. They are aware of it, but we'll get more details later and have more after the game.
Yeah, thanks, Julia. That's really confusing. All of us missed it, but it's hard to believe that down on the field, one of the umpires didn't catch on to that. Robbie Grossman now defensively in left field. Pat Neshek is the new right-hander working it for the Astros. And by the way, Colin McHugh is in position to win his 10th straight decision.
How about that?
if you're into that team thing, the Astros trying to win a 4th straight. Neshek with that little slider has a 1-2 count. Austin Jackson leads off here in the 8th. A 5-run 8th inning for Houston as they were trailing 6-1. Robinson Cano kicked a ground ball to start an inning, and 5 runs later, the Astros are in a good spot. Colin McHugh also has a chance to go to a perfect 3-0 on the season. And a solid 7 innings of work for Colin. Strike 3 called, outside edge. Neshek gets his first victim.
Yeah, I agree on Colin's effort tonight. Didn't have the greatest stuff. Wasn't able to control it that often. Neshek maybe catching a seam on that outside corner. CB Buckner giving it to him. But I thought he did a great job of just grinding through it. You know, that was a good veteran outing right there, realizing you don't have the stuff you're normally used to having, but was able to battle through the Seattle Mariner lineup, keep his ball club in it, and they helped him out.
So Neshek and company trying to keep it right here. The Astros now with 9 hits on their night. 1 error on the board, and what a big play that turns out to be.
Incredible.
This man right here, he is among the very best to have ever played that second base position. Robinson Cano 1 for 3 on the night, has driven in a pair. A ball and a strike. Neshek just the 2nd pitcher on the night for Houston. For Seattle, they have had 5 twirlers. One and 2 the count. Walker, Leone, Smith, Furbush, and Farquhar. Felt like one of those nights where the bats just weren't going to find it.
Perseverance.
This game's amazing. You can go long stretches where it feels like there's no way on earth you're going to score a run. And then all of a sudden something happens.
To see that crack in the doorway, and they ended up kicking it down.
I'm not even sure sometimes you see it. You just somehow
finds you
get caught in the breeze and you slip right through. The 1-2. Inside corner, caught looking is Cano, and he does not like the call. But CB Buckner has rung him up. 2nd strikeout of the inning for Neshek. 2 down. Bases empty for Nelson Cruz.
Get that running fastball to come back over that inside corner, so to speak. It's the same pitch that got Austin Jackson rung up.
Nelson Cruz is 0 for 3, and he has a 9-game hitting streak. And takes a strike. That's going to be a happy clubhouse if this stays the way it is right now for the Astros. 0-2 the count.
Neshek showing some good run on that fastball. It's that arm angle that doesn't really create that sink, but it has the ability to kind of get that side spin to bring it back.
And down on strikes. Neshek comes in, strikes out the side in the 8th inning. We go to the 9th. The Astros with a 6-3 lead here in Game 2. Root Sports is presented by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Here we are going to the 9th inning in Seattle. The Astros, if you have been gone for a while, have turned this around. It's 6-3 Houston. A ball game that was 3-1 Seattle going into the 8th. And before it was all said and done, the Astros had picked up 5 runs. And now Fernando Rodney comes on to work the 9th.
This might be the only time you'd be happy to see Fernando Rodney come in the game with the lead. He's trying to get some work in. No chance to shoot an arrow at the moon. His buddies in front of him kind of let him down in that sense.
Rodney's been one of the really good ones as closers go.
Led the major leagues in saves last year.
He will face Robbie Grossman, who got things started in that 5-run 8th inning. He had a ground ball back up the middle. Cano was there and kicked the ground ball, and that got it all started. 4 hits in the inning, a couple of walks, and that key error. So Robbie 0 for 1 on the night, hitting 182. What a big home run he hit on the homestand against the Angels. Opposite field job, left-hand hitter to the Crawford boxes. Chad Paul is getting ready for the 9th inning. Inside corner. That inside corner has become rather prominent.
That was a nasty pitch.
Rodney not a kid anymore, 38 years of age. And that fastball has some hair.
Well, that's Fernando Rodney. Good heater. Great changeup. Showing a good mix, able to locate both.
11 strikeouts on the night of Houston hitters. But it won't matter one little bit. Again, the Astros going after a 4th consecutive win. Trying to improve to 8-6. Marwin had a big swing in that 5-run 8th. Hit a sharp ground ball on the right side, just out of the reach of Robinson Cano. And that's kind of when it started to feel like maybe something could happen.
The Astros haven't had a chance to feel that in years past. Only one come from behind win after the 6th inning last year. They end up winning tonight. They'll have 2 already this year.
2 balls and a strike. Marwin playing back-to-back nights. Got a start at first base last night. Tonight he gets the start at short. Turned into a very reliable player.
And it's good to see him embracing the role too. Some guys might be a little annoyed that they're not playing more often, but it seems like Marwin understands in order for him to be on a big league roster, he's got to take advantage of it, and I love the fact that he's embraced it.
You know, once you do well in that role, and I'm not saying anybody wants to become a utility player early in their career. Once you do well, though, you can pick up a lengthy career if you have that kind of success. Jeff Blum's pointing at himself, but that's really not accurate.
No, I think my ability to play multiple positions and switch hit led to me sticking around a little bit longer than I think most people anticipated.
If that's true, I will add and say that your abilities and your everything that went with it turned you into a player that got a lot of starting time and had a very good career.
Thank you. And I did. It did. You know, the first couple months really didn't get many at bats, but my at bats usually came between June and September, just because I was able to mix in there some key injuries. Open the door for me, but you know, guys like Marwin who swing the bat well from both sides and play multiple positions, they kind of force their way in there.
So maybe he could somewhere down the line become a starter with continued good play. He's down on strikes. 2 strikeouts in the inning, 12 on the night for Seattle pitching.
Houston Methodist helps us get to know Tony Sipp. Favorite movie is Gangs of New York. Old Seattle favorite up here. Favorite player growing up for Sipp was Ken Griffey Jr. Oh, guilty pleasure song. Kind of goes hand in hand, doesn't it? Let's Get It On. Marvin Gaye classic. I almost broke out in song right there. It was
Did
close.
you?
Yeah.
Feel free. Anytime.
I'm going to hold back. I don't want to distract Chris as he hits.
Did anybody try to steal the feel of that song? Robin Thicke and others got abused.
Yeah. Got to be careful. Mess with a classic.
I'm not sure. Can you steal the feel of a song? Can you really do that?
Not that one. That's kind of its own, but I'm not sure.
Yeah,
You're the musician in the group.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it wasn't that song. It was kind of that party song of Marvin Gaye's, but I don't know.
Steal the feel. Can you trademark a feel of your song?
You know, I've tried to steal the feel of many a song, and I've been unable to do so. So I don't know.
I'm sure you've gotten close.
Close, but no cigars on that swing by Chris Carter. 3 strikeouts in the 9th inning, but we move to the bottom of the 9th. Astros trying to hold on. It's 6-3 Houston.
Sometimes you got to be lucky. Just a little nubber off the hands of Robbie Grossman eats up the Gold Glover in Robinson Cano, which led to another misplay that snuck past Cano with that base hit from Marwin Gonzalez, and Jake Marisnick continued his hot hitting, driving in a run. But continuing with base runners getting on allowed Altuve to get up there with his 3rd chance with the bases loaded, and he took full advantage of it this time, getting a high heater, turning on it, and driving in all 3 runs to launch the Astros into a lead. Now they're ahead 6-3, and that'll bring in tonight's closer, Chad Qualls.
So Chad Qualls in 6 games, 0-1, 476 earning. Chance to pick up a save here as he has a 3-run lead to protect in the 9th inning. He'll face the 5, 6, 7 spots for Seattle. Kyle Seager leads it off. Qualls has worked in 12 games previously in his career against Seattle and has not allowed an earned run over 9 2/3 innings. Pitched 3 days ago, a scoreless inning in a 4-0 win over the Angels. Kyle Seager 1 for 3 on the night, had a double and scored in the 4th inning. And that made it 3-1 at the time. And the way Taijuan Walker was pitching, it looked like it was going to be a tough night for the Astros to get back in it.
Sometimes that's what you got to do, is just outlast that starter, get into the bullpen.
Yep.
Although, if this was last year, you did not want to get into that bullpen for the Seattle Mariners. They were lights out.
You know, that's kind of my field, though. So many bullpens are so good these days that I'm not sure that's an advantage to get to the pen.
No, I completely agree.
1-2 the count. I'm sure the fans are going to get to know A.J. Hinch more and more, but what a solid guy. And he's, I don't know, I like his people skills and his everything about him.
I think he's got a great demeanor in that clubhouse.
The 1-2 got him looking. That fastball runs back to the plate. Seager caught looking. That's 4 consecutive outs of Mariners hitter via the strikeout.
Astro pitchers taking full advantage of that. Inside corner to left-handed hitters, outside corner to right-handed hitters, but for whatever reason they've been locked in. The Conger effect is back there, though. Could be helping out.
That pitch looked like one of those that gets all ball on the plate. I don't know if it really did, but
no, that's that pitch as a left-handed hitter you give up on, because visually you see it coming at that front hip. You give up on it internally, but when you do, that ball moves back out over the plate.
This is Justin Ruggiano, who came on defensively. And now his first plate appearance, hitting 182. He has a count of 0-2. Chad Qualls getting right ahead. Seth Smith, who was in this 6th spot, was 1 for 2 on his night with a walk. Pitch is flared foul down the right side. I don't know, is there a lot of pressure felt this early in the season when, well, for any club, but Seattle, a lot of people picking them to be kind of the dream team in the American League this year, and it's been a slow start. Slider got him. A couple of strikeouts for Qualls, and 1 out away. The Astros just that 1 out shy of a 4th consecutive win, and trying to extend the lead in the National League, or make that the American League West.
I do believe that some teams can put more pressure on themselves than is necessary this early in the season, yes. And you're right. As much as you say you're not reading the press clippings or listening to sports commentators talk about how good you are and how you should win, you're going to hear some of it. There's going to be some grumblings. There's too much information out there for you to avoid it.
Ground ball right side. Shift on Marwin with the play, and that'll do it. A 1-2-3 9th inning. The bullpen comes in and locks it down behind Colin McHugh, who has won a 10th consecutive decision, and the Astros are now 8-6 in 2015. A big 5-run 8th inning to get it done, and that man right there had a very special 1 for 5 night.